the Snoppa Vmate. If you ask me, this is the only palm-sized gimbal with camera which is worth comparing to the DJI Osmo Pocket. So let's see what this device, funded by a crowdfunding project, can do despite the obviously tempting specs, the price, and maybe the better user experience. Welcome, Tech for All channel, my name is Michael, and it's my favorite part of the year, getting warmer, so many colors and fresh air, and a wide variety of awesome new tech which is shouting, "Come and get me!" This form factor in particular is getting very interesting lately, and this year there have been a number of devices of that kind to prove that point, and the Snoppa Vmate is one of those which we knew about for quite some time thanks to the Indiegogo campaign, which, again, turned out to be little disappointing for some of the backers. The device is priced at around $269 and is linked in the description below, and because that's really close to the DJI Osmo Pocket, which started it all, it needs to be outstanding in order to make things work, if Snoppa really want to make it mainstream at all, because it looks like they as a company are very comfortable using crowdfunding campaigns. It's definitely not cheap, but consider the fact that it has the functionality of a good action camera and a good stabilizer packed into one single device. We know now about the direct competition, and you're gonna see a lot of footage shot with the Snoppa Vmate, as well as side-by-side comparison to the GoPro Hero 8, Osmo Pocket, and so on, with the main idea, you to be able to make the right buying decision whether you need that one or not. Time for the usual microphone tests. Outdoors, rather quiet day, no wind, probably you can hear the birds singing if the microphone is good enough, and maybe some cars would be passing by in the next seconds. I really picked this place because I know it's a very challenging environment, and I think it's going to expose one of the weaknesses that this camera has, and that's the way it handles certain changes in the environment when it's rather dark and when it switches to suddenly very bright environment. I think this, for example, works much better in the DJI Osmo Pocket. The good part is that although the field of view of the camera is marked to be, I think it was 92 or 80-something degrees, it's pretty good for vlogging. Pity that, at least for the moment, they say that the only supported external microphone is Bluetooth based, meaning that you can use your Bluetooth wireless headphones, but could be that a wired microphone is also on its way. Let's begin with unboxing the Vmate. It arrives in this pack. While it's not giving you the most premium and wow feeling about what's coming, it's rather acceptable and better than the average. Keep in mind that unboxing the similar-sized Fimi Palm was a little disappointing, and the Feiyu Pocket was kind of alright. The approach that Snoppa show here is very different to every other device of that kind that you know. Absolutely no buttons except the power button. Everything is operated through the touchscreen, which is both the greatest strength and weakness at the same time. Greatness because the display gives you better flexibility. Weakness because there are people whose thumb is almost as big as the 122-inch screen. Luckily, my fingers are not that large and I seem to be coming along with it pretty well. Now, those of you that have used the Osmo Pocket know how unreliable the USB connection feels. The Vmate has a different and way better solution. One of these two plastic things is meant to be a phone holder, and this is how it looks like in action. Honestly, seeing that kind of connection makes me think the Osmo Pocket solution is from the Ice Age, despite the better responsiveness via USB. And yes, we just pointed to the other big advantage. There's integrated 5G Wi-Fi, which means that if we compare to the functionally equivalent Osmo Pocket combo, the price difference is close to $150 already in favor of the Snoppa Vmate. Some technical specs. In short, it provides very decent hardware for its size, and in my opinion, the only similarly sized device that truly challenges the optics of the DJI's Pocket Cam Gimbal. The sensor inside is 1 by 2.3 inches with f by 2.0 aperture, which is fixed, and sounds like the same specs as the DJI Osmo Pocket, in fact. As for the processor, likely the H2. This is my guess, of course, but it's definitely an umbrella processor, a company that used to supply GoPro with their SoCs until recently. This is overall quite a good combo, and Snoppa claim up to 200 megabits bitrate in 4K at 60 frames per second, which is the highest output you can count on from all the existing similar devices. 3-axis mechanical stabilization, we mentioned the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the beautiful 1.22-inch screen, 160-minute battery life operation, no tripod mount screw, no easy fit for external microphone, only 118 grams of weight, smart tracking and advanced focusing system, and while the autofocus was awesome, I never managed to make the tracking work. Now, let me speak about the unique features. The Bluetooth lets you use any external Bluetooth microphone, and the idea is to be able to record whatever you want through the AirPods or through a wireless Bluetooth headset. Thing is that most of these microphones are far from being great. An external microphone through the USB port should technically be possible, but practically doesn't seem to be planned. I tried a few different Type-C to microphone conversions, none of them worked. As for the gimbal controls, the panning is up to 400 degrees, more than any other pocket camera gimbal. And now the good question is, how to take advantage of all that, since there is no physical joystick, and the smartphone app seems to be the only good option to use it, which turns it into something with questionable usefulness. The bitrate of the videos clearly surpasses the competition by far, and I can say a lot of good things about the footage. Really sharp, maybe too sharp even, colors are good, there's no D-Cine-like or flat color mode, but you can still do a lot of color grading in post-production. However, looks like between the different firmware versions there are significant differences between the color science applied, and this makes me think Snoppa are still in search for the best color balance. Let's hope they really have the flat mode in mind. From the nice and practical features, the tripod thread is missing, and this is such a shame. Yes, you can get such through an additional accessory, but that's not cool at all. I consider this as a very serious drawback. If you want to be the leader, you need to be better in many ways, not just the price. And yeah, I think you get the point. Now, with mixed feelings, we're moving on to the software side. It's very touchscreen oriented, call me old-fashioned, I prefer having more buttons, and so far the gimbal that I like the most about controls is the Fimi Palm, or alternatively the Osmo Pocket with the control wheel. The displayed touch performance does not offer the right level of precision, although this is the best kind of implementation I've seen so far, thanks to this small green bar which is showing the acceleration level, and you may be able to create some really smooth panning or rolling transitions, but you need to be very patient. Swiping actions control most of it. Swipe right and you can access the modes: video, photo, panorama, slow motion. The usual suspects are here. In fact, very easy to switch between them. Swipe up and you can control the resolution, frames per second and so on. Nice to see 24 and 25, respectively 48 and 50 frames per second, besides the standard 30-60 FPS, meaning that PAL and cinematic choices are here, well, partially. You have some manual controls like ISO, exposure and white balance, but no shutter control, which immediately will make most professionals dismiss it as a hobby grade only. Swipe down to choose the gimbal mode, and we have all the options you may really need. Took me a while how to enable the selfie mode. It happens with swiping quickly to the left and then to the right. Somewhat acceptable. Another nice feature is that the lens tilts at 90 degrees. Not sure how useful that is. Guess if you need to shoot for TikTok, it's gonna count. Now, let's comment on the stabilization and the footage quality. Clearly better than the Feiyu-Tech's Pocket, where we are all waiting for a decent firmware update to improve the operation. The Vmate is almost as good as the Fimi Palm and the DJI Osmo Pocket, so it's really good, but my gimbal had weird vibration and I can still feel it under certain angles. Looks like that with this specific .04 firmware update, a lot of people are affected, which is a disgrace for a device which is mostly popular for its gimbal features. Most of the issues got away after I updated to a newer version, but now the colors are not that good, and in fact, while troubleshooting and calibrating it for the 5th consecutive time, because the horizon was a little twisted, I realized that I've never ever had to calibrate the DJI Osmo Pocket ever since I have it, and that's how good it is. At least I can highly recommend the app. Simple to use, clean interface, very functional. you can't go wrong with it, and as mentioned earlier, significantly enhances your shooting experience. The video quality is really good, and that's the only device that truly compares to its more expensive DJI cousin, not only because of the similar field of view, which is 81 degrees, but also due to the possibility to autofocus. And I'm actually impressed with the autofocus performance. It feels better if we compare to the Osmo Pocket in similar conditions, and also tends to deblur the background a little nicer, at least in my opinion. And if you're a bokeh freak, you might actually like that. Some weird things may be happening sometimes though. I had a freeze condition once, couldn't shut it down. Also, some app features are not ready and enabled yet after such a long time of development. So, at the end, I can say that I'm with quite mixed feelings about the Snoppa Vmate. Don't get me wrong, it's a device with huge potential to be one of the best out there. Very high bitrate footage, but no flat color mode. Option for Bluetooth microphone, however, no wired external option yet. Good autofocus, and also ISO and exposure manual control, however, no option to adjust the shutter speed and properly follow the 180-degree filming rule. Good stabilization, but some vibrations in certain angles. 400 degrees panning ability, however, no joystick. You see, so many controversial contrasts that it makes it hard to give it a clearly positive verdict, or maybe we better keep things simple. A budget-oriented device with a lot of potential and some pro limitations, very suitable for vlogging on YouTube and TikTok both, the Snoppa Vmate is here for you. If you need more pro-grade features, I think the master, even a whole year after being released, still is the DJI Osmo Pocket. That's it for today's episode. I hope you find it useful and look around in the following weeks for detailed comparison between all these pocket-sized camera gimbals. It's been a great chance to see you around, and looking forward to meet you again in the comments below and in the next episode. And before jumping to the next video, hit that like and subscribe for more cool tech videos. I'm Michael and wish you a wonderful day. Cheers!